welcome to another exciting edition of Poet to Poet. I'm Robert Dunn. I'm the host of this Pathy Poll, and we're here in the backyard of the Irish Eyes Pub in Richmond Hill, Queens. It's always nice to get into the backyard every once in a while and do these things al fresco. I can even work on my tan while we listen to the poetry. We also have this very interesting ladder. It's a relic of an old high diving act. And speaking of which, one of our guests today, Steve Freed, used to be a high diver in a carnival, and I hear a siren somewhere. I think they're on to you, Steve. Well, maybe we can get the show out of the way before they finally catch up with you. We also have Kathy Gutlieber, who's something of a globetrotter. And there goes the wind. Let's see how much of the bio I remember. Steve is that's the problem with doing these things outside, you see. Steve is not only a poet, but also an emergency medical service technician, and he is involved in all sorts of things. He's on the board of directors of Poet Link in Brooklyn. He co-operates an open reading at the Way of Action studio in Park Slope, also in Brooklyn, which is the only open reading that I can think of offhand that takes place in a martial arts academy. Steve, welcome to Poet to Poet.
Thank you, Robert.
And why a martial arts academy for a poetry reading?
Well, the woman who runs it, the sensei of the karate school, has a theater background, and she built a stage into the studio when she made it. So we have a stage that we can use. We also have a large exercise area which is used as a dance floor for us, but is the area in which the people train to learn Taekwondo.
Aha. I looked at a little of that myself once till my old football injury kicked in again. I was on the bench. So that's how it goes. And I find that the foam pads are a real godsend when somebody falls off the stage.
We found that to be very useful for those hard landings. We have had some high diving there too.
We do get a lot of that. You're involved with another little magazine.
Right, Through the Cracks, from Ragged Edge Press in New York City.
And you had a very peculiar title there.
Outreach editor, actually.
What exactly is an outreach editor as opposed to a conventional editor?
Well, we try to reach out and bring in new writing and artistic talents from all over the place that maybe haven't seen print before, or that haven't been exposed in a magazine with a large circulation such as we have.
By the scruff of the neck, or do you use a net like some readings that I've seen?
Any means necessary. We just like to have the good talents come in.
All right, speaking of which, let's go to any poem necessary. And I take it you've got a necessary poem in there somewhere.
I'd like to start with a couple of poems from my chapbook, Going Through Doors, from Lunar Offensive Press. And the first one I'll read is going to appear in an upcoming issue of the New Press. It's called Force. And it begins with an epigraph by Grace Paley. The police have no hope. On this job for violent, disturbed patient, here's this baby cop. No medals or service bars, just a brand new badge on a black leather patch. But a tough kid joined up ready for automatic firefights against crack plutocrats in a ceramic raincoat. But instead, here he goes through a door in front of me, where some diabetic down on his sugars trying to stop himself shaking and punching out everyone around him. Why am I doing this, he says to me. Looks puzzled, throws a weak roundhouse where my head was before I ducked, and next thing nobody knows, this cop's got him immobilized and hyperventilating in some fancy pain compliance hold with a figure-4 grapevine he's practiced like catechism, and does so well and hard when he slams the diabetic down on the ambulance cot, stretcher, cop, and patient bounce a yard in the air. And when it all comes down, the aluminum frame bends and the diabetic and his whole family scream as half a dozen ribs crack. And as we're strapping the moaning patient face down, the cop looks across him at me, waiting for thanks. And because the next door we go through might be a shooter, nuts, high, dusted, or worse, behind love, and it's his cop job to go through doors first, I nod to him. But later, when we're at the hospital and our patient's getting x-rayed for trauma and the glucose he needed in the first place, everybody tells us how this retarded girl's been raped. When this same cop, after being about the 14th man to push her cubicle's curtain aside for a long peek, comes up to me and says, "Why the hell would anybody rape her? She's freaking ugly." Though it can't matter, I can't not tell him, don't you even know that's not what it's about? It's no surprise he goes blank, scowls, turns away, joins a group of his real buddies, so next time I go past, they all look down and laugh. Then 2 days later, which is the next time I'm at work, all the cops are wearing black mourning bands on their badges. Those little elastic rings they also use to cover their numbers when they don't want the public to ID them. And I find out it's for this same cop who last night rented all the Rambo tapes and put a hollow point up his nose from his Sig Sauer 9mm in front of his VCR while First Blood 2 was on. And the story is he was probably waving it around, playing along with the movies, and shot it off by accident, though everyone knows he's been depressed and deathy lately. They're doing it so there won't be problems with the insurance, him being so new, and so it won't reflect badly on his father and sister, both cops and still on the job.
That is a frightening vision, that poem. Is that the sort of thing that came over the radio when you were doing the EMS work?
It came over the radio when we went to the job, and that's what happened. Like another job, I have a poem about if you'd like to hear it.
Oh, trot it out, trot it out.
This is more a performance piece, so let me
He moves furniture too. It's
take
very,
a little
very
room.
useful around here.
Sometimes you wait around wanting to use your skills on a job, and then you get a job you really didn't want. Sit there listening to the radio, and after a while, you just wish something would happen. It's called pin job. Pin job. It's a pin job. A pin job in Midland and Nugent. They're screaming for medics and AI. You hear that's not radio static, that's screams. Somebody got messed up or trapped in the wreckage. They're screaming for ESU. Someone got creamed. Quick, get on the air. Tell them our unit's closest. 62 code 3, the ETA's 5. Get in the wind, but eyeball across traffic. It's nobody's luck we don't get there alive. Straight down Capodanno, but slow for the puddles. 4 dead if we skid to the oncoming lane. Those Con Ed switch boxes are rooted in concrete. The rust on their re-rods is clogged with dried brains. Back on the straightaway, make up the time we lost. Cut off those buses and RVs on turns, but slow for the corner at Midland. Don't flip us. This top-heavy vehicle ought to be burned. Right between Rescue 5 and that big tower truck, feel the charged hoses beat up on the shocks. See that Ford? Rolled over, hit the pole, roof side first. Anyone's in there, their teeth's in their socks. Firemen, cops, react skills? Where did the patients go? Flying or crushed in that crumpled tin can? Over here, over here. It's a girl, short blonde hair, lying face down in a circle of men. We didn't know what to do. We waited here for you. Think she was thrown out. The drivers can't say. Nobody knows how the chaos of casualty laid her out here. You think she'll be okay? Radio static and rubber men yelling and cops wrapping chains on the car where it lies. Stethoscope on her chest now. Do I hear a breath? God knows I want to. Don't let her have died. Think I got something there. Is that the carotid pulse? Bring up the backboard. Her neck's stabilized, but so limp and flaccid. No tone in the muscles. Her pupils dilated. Her chest doesn't rise. Let's get her in a bus. Let's just do something fast, quick with the shears. Cut her out of her clothes. God, what a beauty. She ain't got a mark on her. There must be a chance. What's her name? No one knows. Beautiful? No, now's once breasts are irrelevant, even like now, thrust up into my hands. You're worse than sick if you notice. Start CPR. Follow the protocols. Think in commands. She can't be dead because dead is an old man with blue lips, a vomit shirt, diarrhea shoes. Not this young woman, still warm, pink, and soft to hold, even her lips full, and not the least blue. Here come the medics. Let's tube her and get a line. Call a standby for the trauma team. Stat. Hey, she's in full arrest. You sure you got a pulse? I know just what I heard. Don't you ask me that. Straight to the hospital. Highway will close all the cross streets there are between here and the door. 2 minutes on the bricks, 1 more to unload. The trauma team's jumping. They always want more. Keep up compressions. You, start up a central line. Help her, just help her, you smug little nerd. God, I hate doctors. And there's that fat registrar watching my hands on her like there's some dirt. Fixed and dilated, this patient's not viable. I'm gonna call this code. Doctor, you can't. This was a witnessed arrest. She was breathing. You can't stop now while she's still got a chance. Now, though, I'm just about certain I'm lying. It comes out like prayers, words I can't still believe. Still, it feels better. He goes on 10 minutes more till he calls the code, and we all leave. Seems there's a witness outside. Says he saw it all. Car she was in did a U. Hit broadside, rolled over just as her neck came out, caught it between where the roof's edge and ground met. Too tight. Here come the x-rays. The doctors are furious, slapping them up on the fluorescent screen. C2 through C5 are all common neutered. This patient was dead before she left the scene. She was killed instantly. Trachea, great vessels, spine, bones, and cord pulp like overcooked food. She couldn't have drawn a breath. She couldn't have heartbeat one time. You thought so. You were just caught up in the mood. Waste of a body, the Irish highway cop says. Everyone's mad how I wasted their time. Look at me like they know just what the problem is. Look away like I committed some crime. Still, that don't bother me, much as how hard it is for the next weeks and along with the dreams. How hard it is to touch someone else or myself and feel that other flesh get in between. I got one more, short one.
Come back first. What I want to ask you before we get into your one more, and I hope it's a little lighter one. You do that 40 hours a week minimum. What do you do to relax besides bounce people off the mats at the Tai Do Kwan? How do you cope?
Well, you watch a lot of Rescue 911 and look at all the mistakes they're making and hope that you don't get on camera when you're making mistakes like that.
All right, now about that short one.
About it.
Yes.
I wish I could help you with a light one. This is the last poem in the book, and it's at least about the end. So, let me tell you about the feet. The feet point ceilingward. Stiff handles for the cot to roll to their last ward. The ambulance, it's got all its signals running, waits open for the dead. The air conditioner races the motor. Bars of red spread along the sidewalk and splay up building sides. And on-off lattice work just for the man who died at dinner or right after. Sure, it was only gas. His gut shapes to the contours of food he'll never pass. Eyes flattened behind eyelids. Hair sticks to his damp head. The feet, because they always look dead, now look less dead.
Pleasant barroom conversation, I must say. Steve, I want to thank you for coming on Poet the Poet.
Thank you, Robert.
I think it's you've sowed the seeds of nightmares for weeks to come, I think, but it was important to hear this kind of material. And we'll be back in a moment with Kathy Gutlieber, so stay with us.